Welcome to Graybo's Giblets. We are Gray Burnett, Ryan Fitz, and Duke Dotson, and we own a sports card shop called Graybo Sports Cards and a sports bar called Parlay in Richmond, Virginia. We know you don't have 40 hours per week to pour over podcasts and spreadsheets. We know you want to get in on the action, so we do the work for you. We bring you 30-minute giblets each week so you can feel good heading up to the window and into the weekend. We are the intersection of sports lovers, fantasy heads, sports betting, and sports cards. We are out here dropping giblets for the people. Today, NBA playoffs are about to start. Well, they have started. We got our play-in games, Denny, and we're going to start with some future bets. We're going to mention some cards, really getting some cards and some buy and sell of players, and kind of go over the playoffs. So, Denny, welcome. Are you ready to roll into the NBA?
Gray, I'm very excited about the beginning of the NBA playoffs and excited to be chatting with you about it.
Yeah, and then we can also look back on our terrible bets at the midseason, and everything has changed. The Nuggets coach got fired. That's a big headline heading into the playoffs. They're a 4 seed.
Wemby got hurt.
Wemby got hurt.
Yep.
Right. That hurt the card market for sure. And I had a little. You had the bet too of the Spurs making the playoffs.
Yeah, because back then it was like Spurs or Suns, who's most likely to get in. And
I bet
literally 2 days after that podcast, Wemby goes down, and the Spurs, go down with him.
Yep, I had both of those. I had Suns making the playoffs.
Yep.
Oops, they stink.
Yep.
Everyone should be fired there. They should get rid of everyone, start over, blow it up.
Yep.
And then Wemby gets hurt, and the Spurs, I think they were 7-1 to make the playoffs, and they weren't even close.
Nope.
I mean, I think at the time the Timberwolves were a 6th seed, were in a play-in spot.
Right.
So a lot to break down. We have a lot of storylines going into this. Luka and the Lakers is a big one. I'm sure we'll talk about. Lakers are hot coming into the playoffs as a 3 seed. A lot of people have them as favorites. A lot of people love the Warriors getting Jimmy Butler. They look really good. I mean, Curry's Curry, obviously. So we'll break it all down. Starting with you, Denny. What are your big stories? What are you looking forward to in these playoffs? We have a young Thunder team versus veteran teams like the Lakers, Warriors, and Nuggets. How are they going to handle it? And then we got the Cavs, who had a fantastic year, but the Celtics obviously sit there. And then you have the Knicks. Like, what are they going to do with their starting 5? Can they play these heavy minutes? Big time playoffs.
Yeah, I think the biggest storyline early on, at least, is going to be just the whole Lakers-Mavs dynamic, right? How well the Lakers do, and every time they win a game, Nico's going to get shit, and then every time the Mavs, if the Mavs get in, I think he's going to catch a lot of shit. So, Mavs won the 9-10 game, right? So they still might get into the playoffs, they might not, but I think there's going to be a lot of attention on that dynamic. I think Luka and the Lakers are a high variance team, in my opinion, of what they could do in these playoffs, along with the Warriors. So I think that's storyline number 1 for me. Storyline number 2 is what I call like the new upstarts, right? You got the Thunder in the West and the Cavs in the East, the 2 1 seeds that have not really been in this position yet. Nice young nucleus on both teams. Are they for real? We'll find out. I think the Thunder, pretty heavy favorite to win the West, and that could happen. That to me is more likely than the Cavs winning the East, mainly because, as you said, the Cavs have to go through the Celtics. So that's what I'm looking at. And finally, I think just from a betting perspective, I think some really interesting first-round matchups. The 2 I'm looking at the most are in the East. The Pacers-Bucks, the 4-5 matchup, I think really could go either way. And I've heard sharps on both sides making very compelling cases for both of why the Pacers will advance or why the Bucks will advance. And then also the Knicks-Pistons matchup is really, really fun because you have the Knicks who have now been in this kind of better part of the East the last few years. Jalen Brunson's a dog. They got Cat, but they're not very deep, so that's going to be interesting. And then on the flip side, you have the Pistons, very high-energy team, great defensive team, a lot of young guys. If that series goes, the longer it goes, I think the worse it is for the Knicks because of the depth. So both of those first-round matchups for me are pretty compelling.
Yeah, to add on to that, like the Pistons, I should have researched a little more about the Pistons. The last time the Pistons were in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
It's pretty cool to see them back. Cade Cunningham is their star and is one of the veterans on that team. Like, that team is young. They're deep. The Knicks are not deep, so you make a good point. The more that series goes on, fresh legs for the Pistons. 2019, last time the Pistons made the playoffs. And pretty much in the NBA, everyone makes the playoffs. I hate to say it, but like only 5 teams don't get a shot to get in this play-in.
On each side.
So on each side, right? So it's pretty easy to make the playoffs if you have a good core, right? So the Pistons finally have this good core. Cade Cunningham's healthy. They're getting Ivy back, which is going to help. The one thing with the Pacers and Bucks is I'm going to ask you, what is Lillard's status if you were listening to Sharps?
I think they're planning on him not being in this first series at all. I think it's a lot of uncertainty, but I think from a betting market's perspective, you have to assume he's going to miss the first series.
I love the Pacers then. Yeah. You're telling me we're not getting Lillard, and then I look at, I'm going to go over the lineups here in a second, going over player usage. The Pacers are kind of dangerous, in my opinion. I mean, the Bucks obviously have a Giannis, but Kyle Kuzma does not scare me as their number 2, number 3 guy.
Yeah, he has not looked good since he got to Milwaukee.
I really like the Pacers. And as our chef, you dropping stuff back there?
That wasn't chef.
That wasn't. And our light goes off here. Very good. Very good.
2 for 2.
2 for 2.
We're rolling.
What's going on, guys?
Can you do the on-off switch on that?
What we got? All right. Other than that, I have, really looking forward to watching the West again. I think the West is loaded. You have the Warriors can go far. The T-Wolves open up the Lakers, but I think that is a really good matchup. The East, I really think only 3 teams are going to compete for that. Cavs, Celtics, and Knicks. I really like the top 3 teams there, but I think the Celtics are too strong. And then you didn't mention this, and this is kind of what the whole public is thinking. The Houston Rockets are the freaking 2 seed in the West. They're 80-1 to win it all as the 2 seed. No one is talking about Sengun and Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks, and they have a pretty good young core as well. But everyone has the Warriors taking them down, which I do as well. It's just interesting to see what the Rockets are going to do against the Warriors. Are the big stories heading into these playoffs. So let's kind of break it down. What we're going to do is break down each series, who we think we're going to win, and then we'll move into what we are betting. Obviously, we're not going to bet every series because a lot of it is very chalky, especially in the East. Very hard to get a leg up in the betting market. But I'm interested to see what you're going with. So let's get into it. Let's start with the East. We have the Cavs are the 1 seed coming off an unbelievable year. They added DeAndre Hunter. I call them the Virginia Cavaliers because they added DeAndre Hunter, and Ty Jerome out of nowhere has been awesome. You look at his usage when he's on the floor. The Cavs are deep, very deep. And they'll play the winner of the Hawks and the Heat, which that game will be played tonight. We just don't know who it will be. So looking at this matchup, Denny, the Cavs have 7 guys they really put out on the court. So they're deep. Donovan Mitchell, Garland. Ty Jerome is 3rd in usage when he's on the court. Evan Mobley is 4, DeAndre Hunter, Jarrett Allen, and Max Strus, who's a great shooter. It's a pretty good lineup. With the other 2, the Heat really only have 3 big guys. Bam Bam, Tyler Hero, and Andrew Wiggins. I didn't know Andrew Wiggins was on the Heat for the longest time. Yeah. But not bad there. And I only have the Heat because I think the Heat are going to beat the Hawks.
Yeah. Yeah, the Hawks didn't look great. Got blown.
Trae Young.
Showed his ass. Yeah.
Did he really show his ass?
No, metaphorically. You never heard that expression? That's I think a Papa Doe Fredericksburg expression. Showed his ass means he just like was a didn't. He would his grandma would not be proud of the way he exited that game. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. All right, so first round matchup, Cavs Heat. Do the Heat have a chance? We're saying the Heat are going to beat the Hawks, but even if it's the Heat or Hawks,
Cavs in 4 or 5. I don't think this is a competitive series.
I don't either. I'm taking the Cavs to roll. in the first round. All right, Celtics and Magic. The Magic, if you look, they have Suggs is out, Mo Wagner's out, which is unfortunate. But Boncaro, Franz Wagner, Cole Anthony, Anthony Black, Wendell Carter, and KCP. Not a bad lineup, but you're playing against the defending champs who roll out probably one of the deepest teams with Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Porzingis, Derek White, Peyton Pritchard, Drew Holiday, and Al Horford. What's the series going to look like here? Can the Magic even get one?
I think they get 0 or 1. Similar here. I think Celtics in 4 or 5. If I was going to bet it, I would take Celtics in 5.
All right. I like it.
Celtics are too good, too deep. Home court advantage, experience in the playoffs. It's just too much.
Too deep.
Yeah.
One of the matchups we're looking forward to that I think will go a little further in the series. I'm kind of with you. I think the Cavs and Celtics roll. But the Knicks, right, we know who their 5 guys are. They're Brunson, Cat, OG, Bridges, and Hart are going to play pretty much the whole game. And then the Pistons, Cade Cunningham, Ivy's back. Malik Beasley has been awesome. A great pickup they had was Dennis Schroeder. Has been a great pickup. Amen Thompson, Tobias Harris was a free agent this year. And then Tim Hardaway they got as well. So you look at that. And then I'm missing Durant. I didn't even put Durant on there, who's been unbelievable on the defensive side and offensive side. He's a double-double, walking double-double. What's this series going to be like for you, and who do you have?
No, I'm very excited about this series because I do think the Knicks will pull it out eventually, but I like the Knicks in 6 or 7 here. I think the Pistons are a great defensive team. As you mentioned, Cade's been playing great. I think the Pistons are going to give the Knicks a handful. It's one of my favorite bets of the playoffs is you can take Pistons plus 2.5 games, and I really do think it's going to be Knicks in 6. But I think there's this universe where the Pistons win this series. If the Knicks get hurt at all, they're going to get tired. I love Brunson, but I just don't think the Knicks are going to run away with this series. So I think the Pistons plus 2.5 games is one of my favorite bets.
All right. Well, we're kind of on the opposite in here because I took the under 5.5 games in the series.
Oh, okay.
I think the Knicks get it 4-1.
Okay.
But I could see your 4-2. I took 4-1 just because it's plus money. I think most of the people out there think it's going to go 6 games. But I have the Knicks winning this series 4-1. One of the bets I took is under 5.5 games in the series at plus money, which we'll talk about our future bets here in a second.
And I think the Knicks have got to be thinking that because they don't want to get tired against this young team, and then give the young team a little bit of hope. I think that's going to be trouble. So the Knicks get it done in 5. That's really good for them.
All right, and then I really like a team in this series of 4 and 5 games. Seems like you're 50-50 on it, so I'm interested to hear who you have. The 4 seed Pacers. With Siakam, Benedict Mathurin is back for this series. He wasn't last year. Halliburton, Miles Turner, T.J. McConnell, who comes off the bench, and when he comes off the bench, his usage is through the roof. Obi Toppin, Aaron Nesmith, and Nembhard. So they play 8 guys. They're deep. All these guys contribute. The Bucks, Lillard is hurt, but obviously Giannis, Kevin Porter, Bobby Portis, Kyle Kuzma, Gary Trent, and Brook Lopez. The Bucks just don't scare me if Lillard is hurt. Giannis is going to get his. Let him get his. But I think the Pacers can shut this team down with Siakam, Halliburton, and Turner. They're big 3. The thing with the Pacers is, are they going to be able to shoot? If they can hit shots, right, that's basketball, but they're not the greatest 3-point team looking at these guys. McConnell's going to have to get going. Nembhard and Naismith are going to have to do their job and hit open threes. Halliburton get to the basket. Siakam get to the basket. Mathurin get to the basket. I do like the Pacers to win the series. So I have all chalk in the East. What is your take on the Pacers-Bucks series?
Yeah, man. Again, this is one that I've listened to many a podcast about. Listen to all the Sharps break this series down. The Bucks have been playing without Dame for a while and have actually played pretty well without him and have gotten used to playing without him. They played well at the end of the season, albeit against a weaker schedule. But I do like the value with the Bucks here. So You can get the Bucks plus 1.5 games at minus 132. You can get Bucks to win the series at plus 184. And I like this. I like that side of it from a betting perspective better than taking the Pacers. Again, the Pacers are interesting from a card perspective. Halliburton, most specifically, if you rewind a year and a half ago, every jabroni like me was buying Shea and they were buying Halliburton. You remember that? You remember that phase?
I remember Halliburton was like huge.
Yeah, and Shea has had a great year all year. His card value's done well. Halliburton really didn't play well at the beginning of the year. His card prices dropped, and now he's played pretty well at the end of the season, but his card prices haven't really recovered as much as they dropped. So I think it would be great for that card market for Halliburton to play well and for the Pacers to win this series. But from a betting perspective, I'm taking the value on the Bucks.
Yeah, I'm very excited for the playoffs NBA because the card market all year has kind of been blah.
Yeah.
Besides SGA, Luka, and the big guns, but playoffs come, people watch it,
Yeah.
and you're going to start to see a shift if you play it right. So we will talk about who we want to buy before these playoffs start. And Duke will also talk about when should you sell them because it's all about timing in this market, in this card world. All right, so let's get into the West. We have the 1 seed Oklahoma City Thunder, probably the deepest team in the playoffs. Maybe not the best players, but they are the deepest based on their usage. And I added the Grizzlies as the 8th seed. It's either going to be them or the Mavericks. Mavericks did dominate the Kings, but I think the Kings are just like I read something like the last 12 games of the season, they were the worst defense in the league.
Yeah.
So I think the Kings were just done. But the Grizzlies, like looking at their team, like Bane, Morant, Jaren Jackson, their usage is through the roof. I don't know if I know Wells had a great rookie campaign, got put on a stretcher and rolled out last game of the season. Aldama, Luke Kennard, Zach Edey's had a good year, and Pippen Jr. has had a good year. So they have 8 guys that get pretty good usage. But look at the Thunder. SGA, Jalen Williams, and Chet Holmgren are their big 3, and they are very good. Aaron Wiggins, Isaiah Joe, Hartenstein from the Knicks had a good year this year. Alex Caruso they pulled from the Bulls. Dort is their 8th guy who was a starter. And then Kason Wallace gets some minutes and some good usage as well for the Thunder. Denny, can the young Thunder get past Ja and the Grizzlies? I think every team in the West is so good.
And Ja's, game time on his ankle. He hurt his ankle against the Warriors, and so he's game time decision. Normally I would be pretty heavy on the Grizz to beat the Mavs, but the Mavs are a 5.5 point dog, and pulled that game out 2 nights ago. AD inspired effort. You've got this like chip on their shoulder, so it wouldn't surprise me if they beat the Grizzlies, but I still think the Grizzlies, I would consider them a pretty heavy favorite. But no, I think the Thunder will roll against either team. I think the Thunder they're for real in this round. We'll find out if they're for real in later rounds when they have a little better opponents. They play the Nuggets, the Lakers, the Warriors. We'll find out if they're really for real. But I think they will get through this first series pretty easily.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think the Thunder will roll in the first round no matter who it is. So, move on to the second round. Number 2, the Houston Rockets. Jalen Green, Sengun, Terry Eason, who's 3rd in usage that comes off the bench. Van Fleet has had a really good year. Dylan Brooks, Amen Thompson, and Jabari Smith are their top 7 in usage. They'll be playing the Warriors. Now, the Warriors, not so much. Have guys that carry the usage because 2 of their guys, Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler, do everything for them.
Yeah.
Now they're surrounded by a lot of role players. Draymond Green, obviously, the Podziemski kid, Kuminga, who actually was benched in the first play-in game, is 5th in usage. He didn't play. So those are the 5 guys I have. Everyone else, their usage is really poor. So you have the superstars in Curry and Butler. But can the role players and the Warriors hang with the young guns from the Rockets? And the market thinks they can, and I think they can. I have the Warriors. I think Curry and Butler are way too much for the Rockets. Rockets haven't been here in a while. A lot of these guys haven't been in the playoffs. I think Van Fleet might be the only one. that has been in the playoffs. Oh, Dylan Brooks, but Dylan Brooks is a head case.
Yeah.
So give me your thoughts on this matchup. This is a pretty interesting matchup.
Yeah, very interesting matchup, and I'm not sure I have a great opinion. It's a very high variance matchup because of you've got the veteran team, Jimmy Buckets and Steph and Draymond and the boys coming into the playoffs where they're a 7 seed, but they are the favorite. And it's just a strange dynamic. In these situations, you know, it happens with like the LeBron and the Lakers a lot, where they coast throughout the year. They're managing their time because of their age. And then when everybody gets together, usually they play pretty well. You just don't know because you haven't seen it much. You know, I think in the play-in game, Steph and Butler were awesome. You know, and so if they can continue that, they'll probably beat the Rockets. But it's a high variance matchup. I trust Vegas lists the Warriors as the favorites. I'll probably trust them, and I'll probably stay away from it from a betting perspective because I don't have a good lean either way.
Okay. That is fair. That is fair. You know, sprinkle some couch change on Rockets 80-1 as a 2 seed.
Maybe to win the West or something like that, but not to win it all.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
My favorite first round game, Lakers and our boy Ant-Man and the T-Wolves. This one, buckle up, grab a seat and parlay. The T-Wolves can get them.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think they're going to do it, but I think this could go 7 and could be really fun. The Lakers adding Luka has just been huge for them. Luka has passed LeBron as their number 1 player, looking at usage. LeBron is 2, Reeves is 3, Don Connect 4, Hachimura 5. So they're top 5 guys. But the T-Wolves have 7 guys that can get you on the court, with Ant-Man being 1, Julius Randle, Naz Reid, who was 6th man of the year. They got DiVincenzo from the Knicks, Jaden McDaniels, who can guard anybody, Alexander Walker, and then Rudy Gobert is their 7th guy, who is going to rebound and get you blocks. Not going to do much offense except dunk, but great defensive player. I know you're excited for this one.
Yeah.
Do you have the Lakers, or can the T-Wolves get them?
This one's tough for me because I'm a big Ant-Man fan. I'm a big Luka fan, and I think Ant-Man is very determined to show the world he's the best player in the world. Luka, huge chip on his shoulder from the trade. LeBron's obviously old, but still very impactful. So again, I'm probably staying away from a betting perspective. I'll be happy for whichever team gets out of this. If you put a gun to my head, I would probably take the Lakers to win the series. But I think it's going to be a very competitive series, and I think we're going to talk about futures in a bit. And I like the value on the Timberwolves to win the series, to win the West, to win the whole thing. My favorite bet on them is probably to win the West, but we'll see how this one shakes out. You know, to me, very, very interesting matchup, and I'm just torn betting wise and just from a fan perspective.
If you knew that before the playoffs, LeBron came out and said, "This is my last year," would that change your mind? Lakers going to the championship?
Yeah, I mean,
how much does that play into?
I think they'll factor in the West. You know, can they get past the Thunder or even the Nuggets from that side? I don't know, but it's a very exciting team to watch. So if he announced that, sure, I think that would give them a boost. Yeah.
All right, and then we got the 4 seed Nuggets, the 5 seed Clippers. The Nuggets in the most bizarre thing, firing their coach after winning the championship a couple years ago. Firing their coach as the 4 seed. I heard he did not go quietly into the night. Where is this team? Is the locker room divided? Did they get their coach fired? We don't know. Their value is insane.
Yeah.
We bet it preseason, not preseason, excuse me, mid-season when it was 15-1.
Yeah.
They're now 40-1.
Yeah.
I'm going to hit it again. You look at Joker, the best player in the league, just looking at his stats. I know he might not be the most liked, the fanciest, the most athletic, but go look at his freaking stats and his usage on this team. Jamal Murray, they pick up Russell Westbrook, is 3rd in their usage. He comes off the bench and does it all. Porter, Aaron Gordon, who's their best defender, and then I hate to say Brown, or I like to call him Braun, but it is Christian Brown.
Right.
He spells it Braun, so I just say Braun. Now, besides those 6 guys, they really do miss KCP.
Yeah.
Their bench is kind of weak after those 6 guys. But the Clippers just always struggle in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
But this one's pretty even matchup-wise, looking at the market. No Paul George, right? James Harden, Kawhi Leonard is healthy, which is exciting to see him in the playoffs. Norman Powell, they're the big three. Then Zubac and Bogdan, are the top five. They just picked him up this year as well. Who do you like here?
Man, the Nuggets, another high variance situation, right? So, rewind to midseason, as you discussed, we liked them. We thought they had value at 14-1. We liked them to be the favorite to win the West. So it's the same team, it's the same players, just without the coach. So what does that mean? There are oftentimes you get a boost from getting a bad coach out. I don't think he was a bad coach, So the fact that they ran the coach out of town leads me to believe there's cultural issues in the organization. Like, I don't think the coach was the culture issue. I think there's players on the team that are the culture issue. So from a value perspective, sure. If we liked him at 14-1, it's the same humans on the team. Value-wise, do I like him at 41? Sure. I think I'm going to take them to beat the Clippers and then lose to the Thunder. So I think it's going to be a non-factor, to be honest with you. But they really do have a good roster, so it should be interesting. But yeah, I don't see myself betting on the Clippers in any way to win this series or to factor.
It's a good take. You're talking about culture issues, and after Malone, right, Coach Malone, had that press conference before he got fired. He talked about how they were lazy, weren't putting in work, watching film, just calling him out, and then he gets fired.
Right.
Just maybe, who's the leader in there? Is a joker? We don't know, right?
Yeah.
It's definitely cultural issues.
I don't think
definitely
he gets
internal.
I don't think he gets fired without Joker being
Part of
okay with it. He might not be the ringleader, but he had to be okay with it.
He had to be okay with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, GM is definitely going to him and being like, "Hey, this is what we're doing." And he's probably like, "Okay, I'm going to go watch horses." But he could ball. He could ball. He's definitely not going to put in the most work as a basketball player.
Yeah.
But good, he could still pull it off. So that kind of breaks down the first round. Some interesting games. Let's get into our betting market futures. Going back to the midseason and what we put down and kind of going over our bets from there. You had preseason, you had Raptors under 28.5. Did you hit it?
Lost.
Let's look this up.
Yeah.
You had Nets under 19.5.
Lost.
Then I came in and told you Paulo was out for the season. You were scared. It was definitely incorrect.
Yep.
Magic over 47.5 wins.
Lost.
Okay, so 0-3 in the preseason bets.
Yeah.
Talk to me.
Was really doubted in there. So my unders on the Raptors and Nets were about the Cooper Flag chase, thinking that neither team would start well, and so they would tank. And they both started better than I thought, and they got to that win total pretty early. The Magic, I think I would make that bet again if I could, because I like the Magic, but some injuries midseason, they hit some lulls midseason, and so they got to 41 wins.
41,
so yeah.
What did the Raptors finish with?
30-52.
Okay, you're close there.
Yeah.
And the Nets, they had 20 before even we did the midseason.
Yeah, they were right at it. So
there.
yeah, I was cooked there.
All right, our new futures, what we added says. What did you add? Because
I took
because I'm kind of looking at it. And it's,
my thinking was I like the value of the Nuggets to win the West, and I like Boston to win it all. So I took Boston over Denver 16-1, correct matchup bet. And my thinking was, if the Celtics were to trip up somewhere, who would I like value-wise, right? Again, of course, I like the Cavs and the Thunder, but I didn't like the value on them. But I did like the Nuggets. I took the Nuggets at 14-1 as a hedge in case the Celtics didn't win.
Okay.
So that's where I am. Obviously, I wish I'd waited a few weeks.
Yeah, right. Well, I'm going to go back at it.
Yeah.
I'm kind of with you. I mean, I didn't have I didn't have any preseason stuff, but midseason I went Spurs to make the playoffs. Wemby gets hurt. I had the Suns to make the playoffs, which I should have listened to you. You did not like. went with it. They stink. I did throw some couch change on the Warriors, 30-1 to win it all. They're now down to 21, right? I think you said 21-20. And the T-Wolves, 50-1. I threw a little bit on. I think they're now 55-1, I believe. I mentioned the Rockets that I might do at 60-1. I did not do it, but at 80-1, who knows? And then my best bet was the Nuggets, 15-1. They are now 40-1. So I'm going to go back to them for sure when we get to these future bets. So let's make our playoff bets better than our midseason bets. Denny, what are you rolling with or considering betting on for these playoffs? Let's get it. Let's make some money.
Okay, so looking at the East, I still like the Celtics to win the East, and I still like them to win it all. So I'm considering just taking the Celtics to win it all at plus 185. I think, a lot of times you should do the math on, instead of betting on someone to win it all, just take the money line on their first series and keep rolling it over, and you'll do better. So I think you should do the math on that. And if you estimate that being better, that might be a better approach. In the West, as much as I like the Thunder, not enough value there. So I'm considering sprinkling on the Lakers at 15-1 to win it all, Denver at 40-1 to win it all. I don't love the Nuggets, but 40-1 is so much value compared to where they were a few weeks ago. And again, it's the same team. Those are my bets to win it all. I think in the East, I'm not really making any bets to win the East because I like the Celtics and they're the favorite and just not enough value there. And if they get over the hump, I think they will win it all. So no bet in the East. In the West, I'm considering sprinkling the Lakers at 6-1 and the Timberwolves at 20-1. I think there's a narrative where to your point about LeBron getting old and was last chances, the chip on Luka's shoulder. I think I like the chances of them making a run better than Golden State. And then the Timberwolves, I would like a little more juice, but I think 20-1 might be enough juice for me to bet them to win it all, or not to win it all, to win the West.
Yeah, I really like that. I'm probably going to add that one. For me, the East is tough, right? Like Celtics and Cavs. What are that Cavs plus 750? Not enough for you
to win it all?
To win it all, yeah. The West is just
I don't know.
Too tough.
So to me, you're putting the Knicks in the mix in the East. I'm really not.
Okay.
I am. To me, it's a 2-horse race: the Cavs and the Celtics.
Okay.
So 750 on the Cavs. I don't know. I just think the Celtics are going to get them.
Okay. Yeah. With me, like it's all about value here. Nuggets 40-1. I'm going to play again. I said the Knicks maybe at 28-1. Doubt I'm going to even get there. Like I said, like you just said, I think the Cavs and Celtics are too strong in a 2-horse race. But we're looking at value 28-1. They do have a great starting 5. And adding Cat definitely helps their chances to maybe push them over the edge. Denver and the Lakers to meet in the Western Championship, 20-1.
That's interesting.
I'm going to make that bet.
Yeah.
I'm going to make that bet. Just, looking at their roster, looking at their players, looking at their stars.
Yeah.
I'm maybe relying to – maybe I'm listening too much to these frickin' shows that talk about the Thunder haven't been here, blah, blah, blah. And Charles Barkley's like, shut up. The Thunder are good.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I haven't seen it yet.
Well, it's
I'm
interesting
so stuck on LeBron and Luka and Joker that have done it already.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting bet if you look at it because I think the Lakers' biggest hurdle to getting there is the Timberwolves, and then I think they'll beat the Rockets or the Warriors.
Yeah.
And I think the Nuggets will beat the Clippers. And so really, you need two things to happen in my mind. You need the Nuggets beat the Thunder, and you need the Lakers beat the Timberwolves. Those are the two things that have to happen.
Which are great, tough.
Yeah,
tough.
They're tough, but those are the two hurdles. So 20-1's pretty good juice on that,
yeah.
I think.
So that's why, again, value. I will, bet it, have fun with it. Has a chance. I'm not just throwing my money away. It definitely has a chance, has legs. And then two of my favorite ones getting plus money. You have the Knicks Pistons going to maybe 6 games, but at plus 105, I think the Knicks get it 4-1. So I have under 5.5 games. And same with the Warriors. If the Warriors, wait too long to get to the Rockets and get them quickly, I think the Rockets can get them. Younger team. So Warriors Rockets under 5.5 at plus 145 are two of my favorite bets. So that's what I'm rolling with. Probably gonna not take the Knicks at 28-1. So let's put it on Nuggets 40-1 like that. Nuggets Lakers 20-1. I also have that one with you, the Celtics and the Nuggets to meet in the championship.
Meet or for the Celtics to beat them?
Celtics to beat them. Whatever we had for midseason, I wrote as well.
Yep.
And then I'm going to join you. I haven't added it on the sheet yet, but I'm going to join you Timberwolves 20-1 to win the West. Just looking at their roster, if they get past the Lakers, they can do it. They can definitely do it. All right. Before we get into some cards here and players we're buying and selling in our favorite bets, who is winning the championship and against who? I think I know, but let's official pick.
My official pick is the Celtics over the Thunder.
Okay.
What about you?
I think my official pick, I don't know. Official pick. Celtics, definitely Celtics in the East. The West.
I know what you're going to say.
Lakers.
Yeah. Great. It's a classic matchup. Boston versus LA. That'd be great.
I just got to do it.
Yeah.
I got to do it. Luka's going to get them there, dude.
Okay.
Luka's going to get them there. I think LeBron, last year, I think he's retiring.
Playoff Luka coupled with chip on his shoulder Luka. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be fun
Showing
to watch.
Nico, hey, I play defense.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into some cards here. Great time to buy, but be careful who you're buying because it might be too late for some as well. And then Denny kind of give us some hints when to sell your guys as well. For me, and let's see if I'm right, Denny's going this way as well. I think SGA is the dude this year. His cards are pretty high right now, but also pretty reasonable because I think he has more room to grow as well, to be honest. Luka is rolling as well. Same thing with him. I think SGA is 1A, Luka's 1B for me. And then Ant-Man, very popular. Brunson, Tatum, Donovan Mitchell, Curry and LeBron will always be fine. There'll always be good buys if you can find the right. So those are my favorites. Who do you have from that list? Who are you adding, and when do we sell?
Okay, so I think the biggest factor in like the movement of players' cards, especially in the playoffs, is what they actually do in relation to expectation, right? So that's something to think through with somebody like Jalen Brunson. If the Knicks beat the Pistons, they're supposed to, so I don't think that does much for his value. And I think they're going to lose to the Celtics next. So for me, that's the classic situation where I'm going to pass because in order for Jalen Brunson's cards to move, they need to do better than expectations, which in this case means beating the Celtics, which I don't think they're going to do. So that's how I kind of look at all of these folks. So I'm going to go through a couple of the teams and the key players in them and give you my thoughts. First, starting with OKC. I agree that SGA is expensive now, but he's still probably a buy for me more than he is a sell because I think he's young, he's good, he's got definitely, as you said, he's got room to grow both as a player, but also as his team advances. Every time his team advances, it's probably the first time or second time that they've done that. So I think he's got room to grow. And I think you should look at the other players on the Thunder as well, maybe Chet, for example, but I think SGA is my clear one seed there. Moving over to Boston, if Boston goes back-to-back, that does put folks like Tatum and Brown in a new kind of tier of how they'll be remembered. Back-to-back champion, the best player or players on that team, I think will always be remembered because of that, and that just adds lifetime value. It didn't quite get you to like Steph career achievement value, but it's getting you closer. So I think I would definitely consider Tatum and Brown, and then I love Peyton Pritchard, and I think he's the guy still that people don't know about, that he's getting more and more important with that team, and so I think that I think I really do like Peyton Pritchard as a potential buy and stash for a while. Moving to Cleveland, I think you got to consider them, and I think you would be more likely to buy the guys like Spider and Darius Garland on the Cavs if you thought they were going to get past the Celtics. And I think that's what they need to do to beat expectation they just need to get to the finals. And I just don't think it's going to happen. So I think that you should consider it, but I'm probably passing on them for now. Moving over to the Lakers, I think Luka is as expensive as he is still. I think he is the guy that has so much attention on him that if he plays well, beats the Wolves, beats the Warriors, beats the Nuggets or the Thunder, gets back to the finals, I think that he's always a guy. He needs to win a couple championships, but he's a guy that could go down in history like the Stephs and LeBrons if he were to get it done. Moving over to the Nuggets, I'm probably passing on the Nuggets because I don't see them beating OKC, and I just don't like the dynamic going on over there right now, the cultural issues, and so and Joker, even with what he's done, hasn't moved the market that much, and so for now I'm passing on them. I'm not selling necessarily, but I'm passing. Thinking about Ant-Man and the T-Wolves, again, I'm with you. I do think the Lakers will probably get past them in the first round. But Ant-Man is just always somebody to consider because of his upside and his determination to be known as the best. And I think he has that drive and he has that ability. The Knicks, as I mentioned, I'm passing. The Pacers. Okay, last person.
Boy,
yeah,
you're going back to the well.
So what I'm going to say here is I would consider Halliburton a buy right now if you think they're going to beat the Bucks and for him to have a good series. Because of my lean towards the Bucks, I'm passing. But if you don't like that argument and you think the Pacers are better and Pacers will get by, I think Halliburton his price could recover a bit if he has a good series and beats the Bucks and then does something against the Cavs.
And one guy we didn't mention, so let me get your take on this guy real quick because he's an absolute star, Giannis.
Yeah.
What's your take on him? Because that's interesting. We left him out.
Yeah, we did but there's a reason for it. I think so. Like the reason why I would hold Giannis right now, I wouldn't sell and I wouldn't buy, is because I think they can pull out this series, but I don't think they're gonna get past the Cavs. So it almost doesn't really matter right now. I think he's a top 3 player in the league. Huge difference maker. He's already got a championship. People love him. And I think he's got a bright future still ahead of him, but I don't think his current situation is great, and I don't think he's going to factor much in the playoffs. So to me, it's just a pass.
Okay. Well said. Well said. Great educational segment there, Denny.
We try.
For the card market. Love hearing that. I think basketball is for cards, basketball is like one of my favorites.
Yeah, me too.
Especially when the playoffs come around. All right, so let's get into our We Riding segment, our favorite bets going into the playoffs in first round or series or whatever. Mine, I think it's just the chalk in the East, the beast from the East. And when we figure out who wins Heat or I'm blanking, Heat or the Hawks, whoever wins that, just take the Cavs.
Right.
I'm taking Cavs, Celtics, Knicks, Pacers to win their series, parlay, boom. Right now, I just have Celtics, Knicks, Pacers, so that's minus 109. I think we can get it to even or plus money, adding the Cavs, and just to win. And I think that is the best bet you can make. I think the East is weak, and the only thing that is probably going to be the hardest is the Pacers. But I think the Pacers without the Bucks without Lillard, the Pacers get it done. I really do. 4 games to 2 or 4 games to 1. I think a lot of these games are blowouts. A lot of these series are blowouts in the East, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, normally I like to ride with you. I can't ride with you today.
Can't.
Because some of my favorite bets are almost on the other side of what you're doing here. So my favorite, two of my favorite bets are the Pistons plus 2.5 games, and the Bucks plus 1.5 games. And so what I might do is parlay those 2 bets. But what I also might do is if I take the Pistons plus 2.5 and I think it's going to go to game 6 or 7, I might take the Pistons plus 2.5 and bet the Knicks to win in 6, which is plus 330, and the Knicks to win in 7, which is plus 430. So take all 3 of them, and as long as it gets past 5 games, then I'm going to do something. And then if they win, that way that covers me. If the Pistons win the series, I'm still fine. If I bet enough on the 2.5, but if the Knicks win in exactly 6 or 7, then I get a little pop there.
You know what I should get you in that you would like? I'm in a NBA playoff league,
Yeah.
which is like Survivor.
Yeah.
But you pick a player. So like say and you got to be, it's hard and you got to be strategic because what if it's game 7 and you haven't used Joker yet, and on the other side of it you haven't used who are they, the 5 seed?
The Clippers.
The Clippers. You haven't used Kawhi. Like,
Right.
Who do you use?
Right.
And once you use a player, you can't use them again.
Right.
And it's just you add up points, assists, rebounds.
You just pick one player
one player each night in
each
the
night.
playoffs.
Okay.
So it's a lot of fun. You should
Yeah.
get in it.
Okay. I can dig it.
I'll send you the link. It's on the website. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
It's a cool playoff
I'm
thing
in
to
already.
do. And you got to be strategic about it. And Denny, I am thinking about this strategy because just thinking about what you're saying about Knicks in 6, Knicks in 7,
Yeah.
is who am I going to be playing
Right.
in those games?
Josh Hart.
Right, like if you think, because the next round in the first round it's single points, right? In the second
Right.
round it's double points,
Okay.
right? The next round you triple your points, and when you get by the championship, it's 4 extra points.
So you're like
so
you're
if you
saying.
have the Nuggets in the championship and you still have Joker, and you can 4x his
Gotcha.
points, rebounds, and assists.
Gotcha.
That's huge.
So everybody's going to save Tatum and Shea,
Right.
right? But
You're
then if
gonna-
they lose, then then
Yeah.
you never get to use them. Yeah.
Exactly.
I like it.
So a lot of people will save, Thunder, Cavs, Celtics. A lot of people
Right.
might save Knicks as the 3 seed
Right.
and go with, Cade Cunningham in the first round and
Right.
stuff like that.
Right.
But it's a lot of fun. All right. Anything else to add on your We Riding Bets?
Oh man, this is
What
the
do you-
time of year I get excited about NBA basketball.
Yeah.
Very excited to come watch playoff games at Parlay. Excited to bet on the games.
All right.
Excited to buy and sell cards. Let's do it.
Let's get it. All right. Thanks for listening. Giblets, we are out.
Giblets.